What's going on, everybody? It is officially finally time to start talking about the NBA and make some NBA preview picks. The NBA season is pretty much upon us, just a few days away, tipping off on Tuesday. Can't wait for that. And we got to start previewing what this season is going to look like. Hopefully, we're right about these things, but we might be wrong about a lot of them. So, first and foremost, I got my sheet right here where I wrote down my predictions. I will turn this sheet around in a little bit to show you guys what I got. But we're going to look at the over-unders first, what the sports books are predicting, what we think of that. And then I'll give you my prediction for how I think the playoff standings will look like months from now at the end of the season. All right, we begin with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are predicted to win 62 and a half games by the sports books. And guess what? So last year, we're going to look at their record last year. They went 68-14. Again, you could say, well, they caught a lot of people off guard. People weren't expecting it. True that. But also, they're bringing back the same team. You would expect that they will get better because they're still so young. Don't forget, last year, Isaiah Hartenstein missed a significant amount of time. Chet Holmgren missed a good chunk of the start of the season, and they still won 68 games. So I don't know why in the world I would pick against it. I'm going over on the Oklahoma City Thunder, over 62 and a half wins. And I think they might even get frisky. And if they can stay healthy, try to make a push to get around 70 wins, which would be crazy. So we'll see. All right, so that's the Thunder. Next, we got the Houston Rockets. They are predicted to get 55 and a half wins. Now, some might say, well, last year they had 52 and they brought in KD. True, for sure. But KD is a little bit older. We don't know if he'll be able to play the whole season. Obviously, we hope so and we think so, but he is older. Don't forget, they're losing Dylan Brooks. They're losing Jalen Green. And again, you could say like, well, those guys weren't Kevin Durant, for sure, but there were pieces on the team. And now, unfortunately for them, they lose Fred VanVleet to injury with his torn ACL. So now it's three main role players, at least, that were playing for them last year, significant minutes. I mean, you could say, I think all three were starters. And yes, you got young guys that should step up. There's probably a trade waiting for them to happen. Spencer Dinwiddie got cut recently. So maybe they signed someone like that to run the show and play point guard a little bit. But 55 and a half seems high for me. I'm going below that. Obviously, I still think they're making the playoffs, but 55 and a half is a little high for my liking. So I'm picking the under for that. The Lakers. Also, these are in kind of random order, Western Conference. I don't know why I wrote them down in this order. I think it's supposed to be from highest to lowest, so maybe I'll do it that way. All right, yeah, let's do it that way. The Denver Nuggets, we'll go to them next. They're predicted to come in at 53 and a half wins. Guys, I'm going way over. I love this Denver team. Last year they had 50 wins, and this year's roster, at least on paper, is way better. And don't forget that last year, Jamal Murray got off to a horrible start coming off of the Olympics. Everyone was starting to panic. What's wrong with Jamal Murray? Well, this year, they bring Bruce Brown back. They got Jonas Valanciunas now. I think Cam Johnson swapped out for Michael Porter Jr., essentially. I think he'll fit in seamlessly. I really like this Denver team, so I'm going over 53 and a half wins. All right, who do we got next? The Timberwolves at 50 and a half wins. I love the Timberwolves, and I love Anthony Edwards. They did lose a important key for them in Nickeil Walker-Alexander, who went to Houston. I'm pretty sure that's where he went. Let me make sure. And so now with that missing piece, yes, I know he wasn't a huge – he went to Atlanta. Excuse me. So with him going to the Hawks now, that's a piece that's out for them that was a scorer sometimes, but also he was a great defender for them. So with him out, yes, other people could step in, but I just think that it's a tough Western Conference. The Wolves had 49 wins last year. I guess you could say they'd get better because they will gel a little bit better with Julius Randle now having been there, but I have them slightly under. So I'm picking the under at 50 and a half. I could see them finishing with 49 wins or even 50 wins, but 50 wins is technically still the under. So I'm taking the under on the Wolves. All right, now we go to the LA Clippers at 48 and a half wins. Another team that I think got better. The Clippers had 50 wins last year. Why would they now drop down to 48 and a half? And especially they got John Collins now. Yes, they lose Norm Powell in that trade to Atlanta, but I kind of love their roster. I think they're a deep, deep team. And I mean, Kawhi seems to be the healthiest that he's ever been coming into a season. So, Bradley Beal comes over there. He can give them some spot minutes, especially when they want to maybe rest a Kawhi Leonard or something. So again, I mean, I'm looking at the roster. Brook Lopez. I mean, dude, Brook Lopez is there now. He's going to back up Zubac. Like, that's a loaded team. So I'm taking the 48.5 for sure. I think the Clippers go over, even with giving Kawhi some rest. I don't know how they'll be worse this year. And Ty Lue's a great head coach. All right, now we get to the Lakers at 47.5 wins. I'm taking the under with the Lakers. One, it's a tough Western Conference. Two, last year they had 50 wins. Yes, I get it. But LeBron was, a little bit better, I would say, because he was, these years start adding on now. And he's already starting off the season injured. So I don't really think Jake LaRavia was the big offseason signing. That's fine. And I just think defensively, they're not going to be that good, especially with LeBron missing. That's where I think people think, oh, LeBron's going to be out. So how will, what will happen offensively? No. Offensively, they're fine. It's defensively that's the problem, because I know that, LeBron gets flack for not playing hard on defense. But even if he's not playing hard, he tends to be in the right spots most of the time. So I think that's going to hurt the Lakers, especially it's a sciatica. Right now, he's supposed to be out till mid-November, which is fine. But if he comes back and plays the rest of the season, I will be surprised. He's just older. They need to maintain him. That's what Luka's for. Luka's there to get them to the playoffs. But even with, Luka had those teams in Dallas where I would say are pretty similar to what they have with LA now without LeBron. And the highest win total he had was 52, if I'm not mistaken, in Dallas. So 47.5 seems a little high for the Lakers. I could see them finishing at 45 wins, but I'm picking the under on that. All right, next we got the Golden State Warriors. Let me make sure I'm writing this down so I don't forget any team that we haven't talked about. All right, the Warriors are listed at 45.5 wins. I'm taking the over. This team, when they had Jimmy Butler after that trade, I think they went like 20-2 with Jimmy Butler. And yes, they're older, so I'm accounting for some injuries as well here. I think if they had their fully loaded team for the whole season, they could potentially be a 60-win team. And I think they're going to get something for Kuminga when they end up trading him. But yeah, I like this Warriors team. 45.5. I mean, that seems a little low. Last year they had 48 wins, and they acquired Jimmy Butler at the deadline, pretty much like 2 days before. So I don't know how they're going to get worse. I think they'll get better. I get it. They're getting older. So maybe injuries, but I don't see why they wouldn't be the same, if not better this year. So I'm taking the over on the Warriors. All right. And then we got the Memphis Grizzlies at 40.5 wins. Zach Edey is out already for a while. He's a rebounder. He's not coming back till probably December, if that. Jaren Jackson and John Morant tend to get injured pretty often. And even with a healthy squad, they got some nice pieces, but the Western Conference is tough. I got the under 40.5. I think they're going to be right around 500, but to balance out my over-unders, I like the 40.5 number for them. I think it's right where it should be, but I'm just going to go under. That way I can balance out my sheet here. So we got the Grizzlies going under. Then we got the Mavericks at 39.5 wins. Yeah, I got the over on the Mavericks for sure. I think Cooper Flag in the beginning of the season can kind of experiment, do what he's got to do as a rook. I think he will be good. I think Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, yes, they're older and all that and injury prone, but they got other pieces, PJ Washington. So I think they have pieces there that could at least maintain and keep them around 500. And then Kyrie comes back towards the end of the season. I don't know why they don't elevate from there. They still got Derek Lively. Daniel Gafford. So 39.5. So if they go 40 and 42, I'm going to take the Mavs. And don't forget, last year, they didn't have Luka for the whole second half of the season. And they didn't have Luka. He was injured early on at some points. So, and they still finished with 39 wins. And then AD, when they got him, was injured the whole time. They practically started tanking towards the end of the season. I got the Mavs over at 39.5. All right, we missed one that I missed it that had a projection of higher wins. That's the San Antonio Spurs at 43.5. Seems like a high number, but you know what? I like it. I'm taking the Spurs to go over this number, 43.5. I just think that Wemby looks incredible. And even if we bank on him missing some games because he is a huge guy, he's the tallest guy in the NBA, big guys tend to get injured. So if he misses 20 games, I think they're deeper. I think they got Dylan Harper. I think they got guys like Stephon Castle that are growing and can, heighten the floor. I had to figure out how to say that. Heighten the floor for them when Wemby's not there. And I think that'll help them end up if Wemby misses some time. And now when they play a team like Brooklyn, like, Washington, that those should still be counted as wins for the Spurs team. So I got the over at 43.5. Where are we going next? All right, Sacramento Kings, 35.5. They just re-signed Keegan Murray to an extension. And I like Keegan Murray, but I don't think he's worth a big extension. $140 million over 5 years, and he's injured right now. The roster, I just don't see who's playing defense. You got DeMar DeRozan. I love Debo. Love DeMar, but him and Zach LaVine since Chicago days don't really play defense. Now they just signed Russell Westbrook. He's getting a little older. I just don't know who. This just seems like a lot of ISO basketball to me. It's tough to see them in this Western Conference winning more than 35.5. So I got the under for the Kings. Portland's 34.5. And this is my sleeper team, guys. I think Portland's going to be a lot better than what people think. Drew Holiday being there, a veteran presence. I think he's not the same defender, of course, but I think he still can lock down when he needs to. But at the same time, he is older. But I just think those young guys will develop. I like what they've been doing, drafting guys. I got the over for Portland. I think they can even hover around 500. I think their defense was already great last year, and it's only going to get better and get elevated. Chauncey has done a solid job there. So give me the Blazers to go over. All right, last few here. The Suns at 31.5 wins. I like the makeup of guys. Like, it's interesting to me. And I also think it's one of those situations where you take a step back to take a couple steps forward. Yes, it sucks to lose Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant because of the name of who these guys are, but the fit wasn't there. And so I see this team as being a team that now can play a little bit more free. Devin Booker is now clearly, is he the guy or is KD the guy? It's Devin Booker's team. He is the guy. Jalen Green, you want to help out, buddy, and make some shots? Go for it. You could be my Robin, to my Batman. And Dylan Brooks can be feisty. I heard on the Bill Simmons pod that he might be a, possible trade piece later in the season. I could see that. So that's the part that scares me. That's why I went under 31.5. Because I do feel like maybe now that the Suns get smart here and think, you know what, this ain't going to be the year, but it's time to start planning for the future. Maybe we do trade away a guy like Dylan Brooks. They got Malwak, the center from Duke, who could be something. So maybe they start developing those guys so that, a couple years from now is when they can make their run. So I got the under there with the Phoenix Suns at 31.5 wins. We're winding down here. The Pelicans, 30.5 wins. I picked the under here because I looked at the roster and I'm not sure who's going to play point guard for them. I mean, I know they drafted Jeremiah Fears and that's nice and all, but they had 21 wins last year. Are they going to be 9 wins better? Essentially 10 wins better. Kevon Looney, their big free agent acquisition to play center, he's injured already. He's going to miss some time. So when I look at this roster, I'm looking at it again right now. I like their pieces. Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray, when's he coming back from his Achilles? Derek Queen's injured as well, the rookie. Zion's in great shape. That's great. But is he motivated for the right reasons or just to get his payday? I said this before, and I think if I were the Pels, sneakily, I would try to be picking up the phone and calling people and saying, are you interested in one Zion Williamson? Because it might be time for them to reset. They got 2 promising rookies with Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. And if you can get some pieces for Zion, why not start building around those 2 guys instead? Move past Zion. He's only really, it seems like, in shape this year to get his payday and get his money guaranteed. So I don't like that part of it. So I got the under of the Pels at 30.5. And then the Jazz are 18.5. And I'm sorry, Jazz fans. I think it's going to be another season of losses and planning for the future. But I don't want to say it because obviously I'm picking the under on wins, but it's working because I think you guys got a stud in Ace Bailey. I think that guy's going to be really good. And I think that's what you have to do at some point. And that's what I'm saying. I think the Pels should do. Teams like the Suns should do. Obviously, it's hard for the Suns with Devin Booker. But teams like the Kings maybe should do things like that, where it's time to, yes, it's a few years of rough basketball for the Jazz, but you can get some pieces now. You can develop around Ace Bailey. Maybe Laura Markkanen is a piece that you trade. Get another high pick in this next draft. And now next year you start thinking, all right, we got Ace Bailey. We got this other lottery pick. We got young guys here. Let's, youth movement take off. And, it happens sometimes like that. And then later you start bringing in the veteran pieces to help that and help you get across the hump. Look at Houston. They had years of terrible play, but then they were able to draft guys like Tari Eason, Jalen Green, who now they use to get a guy like Kevin Durant. So I think that something like that is something they should be considering to do. Again, like I said, I mean, the Rockets did it, and it's worked. Last year they had a good team. They get Reed Shepherd. I miss, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith. Those young guys were part of the teams that were bad for Houston, and now they're a part of the team that's good. So I think this is another year of that for Utah. So those are the over-unders. My playoff picture, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder as the number 1 seed, the Denver Nuggets as the number 2 seed, the LA Clippers as the number 3 seed, the Golden State Warriors as the number 4 seed, the Houston Rockets as the number 5 seed, the Minnesota Timberwolves as the number 6 seed. And listen, if you're a Wolves fan and you're mad at me because I picked them to be the 6th seed as opposed to the 3 seed and I got the Clippers there, just know that I think all these teams are going to be like one game within each other. So you could turn that around however you want to see it. I just wrote it out in this order because I just was looking at coaching and things like that. But ultimately, I think all these teams are going to be this. The Western Conference is going to come down to the last week of the season, possibly that last couple games. So don't fault me for that. At 7, I've got the Dallas Mavericks. At 8, I've got the San Antonio Spurs. And listen, don't hate me, Laker fans. I got them at number 9, and I got Portland at number 10. And obviously with the play-in, the Lakers could be the 7th seed in the playoffs. It depends. But I think it's hard for me to look at the Lakers and think, all right, my 6th seed here is the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm going to put the Lakers above the Timberwolves when last year the Timberwolves beat them in 5 games with LeBron and with Luka Doncic. And, so I don't think Marcus Smart is going to be the lockdown defender at his age that's going to shut down Anthony Edwards. So, again, no offense. This is the way I see it playing out. And again, LeBron's injured already, which is a scary sight for someone his age and with his experience. So that's the Western Conference. You can look at my little cheat sheet if you'd like. This is what I've got it looking like. And I just noticed I think my camera's not running, which would suck if you guys can't see this. And I might have to redo this, but hopefully not. Hopefully you guys saw this, or at least were able to hear what I've been saying.